You're listening to the Hunt Stealth Podcast with Ryan Uffins, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the wild. Whether you're an aspiring hunter or an adventurer seeking the untamed, together we'll explore the strategies and stories that lead to success in the great outdoors.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Hunt Stealth Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Uffins. Excited to have Scott Dunton on the podcast today. Scott, thanks for joining me, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
So we talked a little bit last week, and tell me, how did that iguana kill count go for you?
I was actually just outside trying to get this other one. It's so crazy to me. I love hunting elk and deer, but here in Florida, it seems like the only thing that I can constantly hunt is iguanas with a blowgun. I feel like cold steel has definitely changed my life in Florida.
So for people that aren't familiar with what's going on, tell people briefly why there's like free range on iguanas down there.
I don't know when they came over, but they're considered an invasive species. And I mean, I can shoot probably 20 a day in my neighborhood with a blow dart gun. People hunt them with BB guns, pellet guns, bows. I've shot them with just about everything that you can legally shoot them with, but blow dart gun seems to be the method of choice in my house. I think every member of my family has a blow dart gun.
Knocking them down. So you're in Florida. Have you lived there your entire life?
No, I moved here about 10 years ago with my ex-wife. Long story there, but have 2 kids with my ex-wife and kind of got me stuck in Florida for a while. So just making the best of it, hunting, diving. Went to school out here, so that made it a little bit easier. And then now I just work and fly out to Wyoming or Montana whenever I can to get some topography in my life.
Okay. What do you do for work?
I do anesthesia.
Okay.
I got my doctorate in anesthesia about 2 years ago. I finished school and work at a hospital here with a great group of people, and
very
luckily
cool.
It affords me the opportunity to get out west a lot.
That's awesome. What have you been out here this year hunting anything?
Yeah, I was out there. Flew out September 7th through October 1st, so just shy of a month. I hunted about 10 days in Montana. We hunted the Crazy Mountain Range, and then drew a really good tag with one of my buddies in Wyoming at the Bighorns.
Okay, right on. So you guys had a good time.
Yeah, got lucky on the first day in the Crazies and got a nice 6x6 bull. And then my buddies and I tried to get them on a bull, but we ended up knocking down a couple bucks too. So it was nice to get some mule deer in the cooler, and headed down to Wyoming after that.
So tell me a little bit. So the elk that you got, tell me how that transpired.
Well, if anybody's hunted the Crazy Mountain Range in Montana, that is borderline the toughest hunt I've ever done in my life. I mean, the elevation changes there are insane, and we had never hunted there. I've hunted Montana for probably the last 12 years, archery elk, and always done really good, had amazing hunts. I have some really good friends out there, and we share a lot of waypoints. And my buddy was like, you guys should try the Crazies. And I was down. So we flew in to Billings, drove straight to the Crazies. We got there after sunset and hiked in the dark to a waypoint that my buddy had dropped for us as like a good idea to a camp spot. And it made part of Oregon look peaceful as far as downfalls go or deadfalls go. Like, I probably took us on some terrible shortcuts that I shouldn't have, but my 2 friends, Brad and Craig, we got into camp, set up camp, and the first morning I wanted to go check out this spring down in the bottom of this canyon, and my buddy Craig decided to sit on the spring, and Brad and I were going to go up around the top of this mountain, and we split up right towards the top. And I heard something coming up the hill behind me from the spring, and I thought it was my friend Craig. And started talking, you know, in my head about him. I'm like, you didn't even make it 20 minutes at the spring and you're already coming back up. And I turned around and it was actually a bull that I don't know if he had spooked but it was just literally cruising up the trail 35 yards behind me and took a couple steps off the trail to go off to the other side. And it had no idea I was there. And I don't really get bull fever anymore. And I'll tell you what, I was shaking. I saw this thing right there and I was so not ready for it to be there. And got really lucky and got a good shot on him. And he went down a couple hundred yards back down the trail towards my buddy. And we started the most miserable portage of trips out of the mountains I think I've ever had.
I want to tell you about Bison King. It's the jerky I keep in my truck, in my pack, and in my studio. It's 100% American-raised bison sourced from ranchers who actually care about responsible meat production. Every batch is handcrafted and done in small runs so it tastes fresh every time. They come in big 5-ounce bags with 3 flavors to choose from. Teriyaki, it's the tender crowd favorite, peppered for that bold bite, and bison and salt. Just 2 clean ingredients for those who want clean protein to power their day. Why bison jerky? It gives you more protein per ounce than beef jerky. It's leaner and more nutrient dense to fuel your day. And hey, since our wives are always texting us links what they want for Christmas, send a stocking stuffer idea back. Visit bisonking.com and save 10% with code STEALTH. Again, that's bisonking.com, code STEALTH to save 10%. Bison King, fuel made for those who stand tall, charge hard, and rule the wild.
Right there, and I was so not ready for it to be there. And got really lucky and got a good shot on him. And he went down a couple hundred yards back down the trail towards my buddy. And we started the most miserable portage of trips out of the mountains I think I've ever had.
What do you do? I mean, I talk to a lot of guys because people that come out and start hunting in the West, like trying to get ready for it. I've had a couple guys from Florida. They're like, it's hard to like prepare physically and mentally for what you go through. And like you're dealing with a ton of deadfall, like that wears on you. Yeah, I'm guessing you didn't take the shortcuts out.
No, we didn't. And it does wears on it's more like just a mind game. You start, it's funny because on one of the portages, my buddy, I went back for the last load and I found a dead head of a moose. And I was like, oh, this thing's awesome. I strap it to my pack and I had a hind quarter in my pack already. And I strap it to my pack and start going over these deadfalls. And I sat down for a second. And of course that skull got stuck on the limb behind me. And I ended up like a turtle on my back, like stuck. I remember just ripping this moose head off and throwing it. I was like, I'll drop a pin if anybody wants it, but this thing's not making it with me. I just had like a mental breakdown. It was tough. But as far as training goes, to be honest, I don't really do any physical training, and that might bite me in the butt sometimes out there. I mean, I know, well, most people know that anesthesia is kind of just known for their appreciation of chairs. I guess. And my buddy Brad that I hunt with, he's a firefighter down in Miami, and he would send me videos of him wearing like his Sitka 6200 loaded with like weight packs. And he's on a stair stepper. And I'm like, bro, do you understand? All you're doing is training to leave me behind, because I'm not pushing it that way. But I think the goal as soon as my mind knows there's elk somewhere, you really couldn't slow me down or stop me.
You're one of those guys, huh?
Yeah.
That just has a motor in them that can just go. No train. Yeah, I know a couple guys like that. I go out there with them and I'm like, what did you do? And they're like, nothing. And I'm going, Judas pre-spin. Like I trained, I did rucks, I did all sorts of stuff, and that's fun, to get out there and get after it. It would be nice to, I enjoy the training aspect of it, but it's fun that you're able to get out there and get after it. So you guys, up in Montana, you get your buck or your bull down, and then you said you guys were able to get a couple bucks up there as well.
Yeah, we'd all drawn the big game combo tag for Montana. So my buddy Craig and Brad both shot some nice mule deer bucks. I was kind of in this mission of, I felt a little bit bad that I was the only one that's ever shot a bull before. And I was telling both of them, I'm like, I got us in Montana. we get out there and I'll put you guys on some bulls. And literally no one else saw a bull for like the first 3 days. And I remember just sitting there feeling so guilty at camp. Like I wish I wouldn't have told them we should all split up and go around different edges of this mountain, because I didn't want to be the first one, and especially not the only one to shoot a bull out there. So
And that was that day one too.
it was day one, morning one, right out of camp. Like, I never felt bad after shooting a bull, and I felt bad. These guys instantly went into portaging all this meat out of the canyon for the next day and a half, and I was just like, then we didn't see anything else in Montana, and we met some really great people up there though. And I'll tell you how bad that hike out was. When we were hiking the meat out, we got to the trail and we were only about maybe a mile from the truck. And I paid a guy $100 to take my pack full of meat to the trailhead a mile away on his side or his four-wheeler, because I just couldn't do it anymore. We were so dead. That was definitely the toughest experience I've had hiking out meat.
So you bumped into somebody up there with a quad?
Yeah, which it was so funny because this guy, we were talking, the three of us as we're walking and all kind of just giving each other a hard time. And we run into this guy and, we heard a quad coming down the trail, and me with my full pack started literally just running. Like, I was like, we got to catch this guy. I've got some cash. I don't care what it costs. I'm not carrying this thing. And he ended up being like one of the nicest guys from, I think it was South Dakota, and he's a firefighter, and long story short, knows a lot of people that my buddy Brad knew. And but he let me give him $100 to take the pack out, that's for sure.
Sweet. Yeah, that's not a bad deal.
No, I would have paid $5.
Well, that's fun. So then you guys went down to Wyoming?
Yeah, my buddy Craig had to go back to Florida, so we dropped him off in Billings, and I had scouted the Bighorns. My dad and I hunted it when I was younger a couple times, and he was actually up there the day before we got there, and Brad and I just bombed straight down. It was like 6 hours. We dropped off the bull to my dad's wife and Cody, and then drove up into the Bighorns. And the first morning we were there, we spotted an amazing lookout place, and we spotted this bull up on the mountain. And it was funny because he was so far away. It was probably 4 miles out, and he was at like 12,000 feet is what we were guessing on using Onyx. And we were at 9 where our camp was. And I remember seeing this bull and being like, we have to try and go for him at least once. Like, it might not be day one. Maybe we need a day or two just to hang out at camp. But this bull had like 30 cows. And I remember talking with Brad and being like, it's going to be one hell of a hike, but I think we should go at least once. And we ended up going after that bull like 6 days in a row, hiking up there every day because he was so good, but I just couldn't get him. There were a lot of days I didn't even bring my bow because I was trying to get him close to Brad. And
were you calling him?
Yeah, I was bugling. I would say, I hate that saying of like, it's not all about killing an elk, because to me, 99% of it's about killing an elk.
Right.
That's what puts the meat in the freezer and makes, feeds all your friends and family. But if you could get as close to killing an elk without doing it and enjoy the experience, that's how it was for me. My buddy Brad was 120 yards from this bull, and I bugled so many times back and forth with it that I had a sore throat the next day. Like, I bet you I bugled 60 times. I would cut him off and he would cut me off, but we were above the tree line and there was nothing in between us. Like, you couldn't find a 12-inch rock. So it was just, I was hiding on the other side of this draw and I couldn't get him any closer.
He just didn't care enough to engage to leave his cows.
Yeah.
That was kind of my experience where we were hunting. We could get them, they'd talk to us, but we could not get them to engage.
The one day that I think we could have got him, there was a satellite that he was chasing around and trying to fight off. And we got all the way up there and literally we're probably 400 yards away and we're watching. I'm waiting for the evening time so the winds would switch. And a guy in like 3 guys on horseback come riding down over the mountain, right through them, and blow everything out of the country. And I think I had some words for the for the guy on the horse, but I think that would have been our only chance, because he just didn't have. There was no pressure, so he couldn't see me bugling. He'd come to the edge and look, but he didn't really have a reason to leave those cows. And I felt terrible that I couldn't get my buddy on it, because he was a trophy for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's kind of like that, catch 22. You're out there, you enjoy the experience. And I mean, at least for me, like I've yet to arrow, any big game animal. And the one time that I could this year, it didn't have the tag. Bull comes over this ridge, comes right up to me, like, I don't know, probably like 10 feet from me, looking at me, and I'm going, I'd have smoked him. I mean, he was a little 5x5, but he was young, but for me, like, where I'm just going, like, I just want to kill something. Like I'd have smoked him.
Yeah.
Instead, he just looks at me and he's like, I just ran all the way over this ridge back down into this canyon. And now he's sitting there looking at me going like, you got to be kidding me. And he like blows back down the canyon. And that was early. That was in, that was like end of August. So like they weren't, I mean, you could bugle, but they
weren't
could have given 2 rips less about you.
Yeah. We had such amazing experiences with them, and I'd just getting to bugle with them like that and put my buddy on one, thinking, because for a while I couldn't even see him, and I'm seeing this bull get closer, and every time he'd bugle, I'd cut him off. And then he'd started like getting that deeper growl bugles, and I was like, oh, he's fired up, he's coming. And then I'm like waiting till dark. I see my buddy coming back, and he's just like, I'm like, did you shoot him? And he's like, dude, he never moved. He never came a little bit further. I'm like, oh. He's like, the only thing I could see when he did hit 100 yards was his antler. I was like, you should have shot him in the antler. Like, what do you mean you didn't shoot him? But it was tough. I mean, we saw some smaller bulls, and my buddy's so keen to shoot a bull that he's like, oh, I would have shot that one. I was like, well, that one up on the mountain, like, I probably would have shoulder mounted for my wall. I bet you he was 360, 370. Like, he was a stud.
Wow.
And we hunted him hard. But then, I was telling you about all that drama that we had up there.
Let's get into some of that.
We were hunted that bull, and round trip, I think that day we hiked like 12 miles, because we got all the way up on top. Then I decided we should go around this other side, and we ended up on like one of those Peruvian death marches to get back to the truck. And we had rented a Turo, or on Turo, like a Jeep, just a normal 4-door Jeep.
Right.
And we get back to the trailhead and load up the Jeep. And I was like, let's just go set up. I know this spot right down the road where my dad and I camped, 15 years ago. It's got a great water source right behind it. We'll be golden. Well, we got in the Jeep and we start driving, and, you're 35 miles in on a dirt road, and maybe half mile from the trailhead, walking down this dirt road. It gives me goosebumps, a chicken skin, just telling you the story. There's a woman walking in a white dress, dead center down the road, walking away from us. And I was like, this is the weirdest thing, like, we're cruising up behind her, and as Brad and I are talking, and he's like, I don't know if you should stop. My pistol's in the back. And I was like, my pistol's in the back too. And I was like, well, let's slow down. So I slowed way down, and she had a scarf, and she like turns away from us towards the trees and like kind of ducks into the trees. And I was like, well, she doesn't seem to need help or want to talk to us. So we just kept going, and we ended up camping at that spot about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles further down the road. And we were talking about it. Like, it was just so weird to see a woman walking all by herself, let alone in a white dress at, it's probably like 9:00 at night, just pitch black in the mountains. And we eat our meals and get ready to go to bed. And my buddy Brad comes walking up to me, and he's got my 10 mil in his hand. He's like, Scott, sleep with this tonight. I got a bad feeling about that lady. I was like, that's funny, because the Bighorns were like such a relaxing time to me, because it felt so comfortable being up there so many years in a row. And I wasn't worried about grizzlies. Like Montana, you sleep with your pistol on you the whole time. And so I had been leaving it in my bino harness off to the side, and he handed me my pistol, and I was like, I guess I'll sleep with this thing. So I was sleeping in a haven tent, and I put it on that thing above your head, that little net.
Yeah.
And right when we were going to sleep, he locked the car, and it set off the car alarm. And so I laughed, we're laughing, and the car was pointed it was probably 15 feet from where our tents were, our hammocks. And I talked a little, shit to him about that. We go to bed, and then I wake up at 11:30. So it's only 2.5 hours later to the car alarm going off. The headlights are flashing. So it seemed like a war scene to me. And I hear my buddy Brad yelling my name, and he's yelling, "They're robbing us." And I was like, it kind of so tired from hiking all day. And you're like, took me a second, and he's literally screaming my name. So I come out of my haven in boxers and a 10 mil, and I see two people running. Every door on our car is open. The lights are on in it. The headlights are flashing, the horns honking, and my buddy's crawling in the dirt coming back. And he's like, they're robbing us. They stole all our shit. And out of instinct, I'd sent a 10 mil round off maybe 20 feet above what I would call head height, just because I would have a hard time shooting someone in the back, running away. That's just something. If they were in the camp, it'd be a different story, but they were definitely fleeing. But I thought, send a round off, let them hear the gun, and then maybe it gives us time to, figure out what's happening.
Gather yourselves.
Yeah. And my buddy he said he heard someone talking, but he wasn't sure if he was dreaming or not. Because when he woke up, he's like, it stopped. And he's like, I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I thought I heard people talking. But then he unzipped his hammock and got out, and they took off running. And damn, if they didn't steal just about everything out of our car. And they they cut our bowstrings. So they cut all the bowstrings and the cables on our bows, which ruined his bow. I have a Hoyt RX-7, and they didn't get my cables, but they got the main string. So when I shot, it turns out they were running across this I don't know, maybe 50-yard wide pasture to where the road was, and there was a car waiting for him. So they'd cut the strings, and I don't know if it was because, we talked to the game warden and a couple people up there who said there's some anti-hunters that are up in that area, and they like to mess with hunter stuff. But I don't know if it was that, or if they were pissed off that both of us shoot left-handed bows. Maybe they were going to steal our bows, and they were like, oh, both these guys are left-handed. So they ended up just cutting our strings and throwing them on the road, because we realized all the stuff was gone. And then when we were starting to leave to chase them and see if we can catch up to them in our Jeep, we saw the bows right by the road. So they had thrown them before they got in their car. Or I don't know if it was the gunshot that scared them enough to throw the bows and take off running. But we ended up losing bows, a lot of our gear, and 3 days worth of time, because we had to drive all the way back to Cody to get some new bows and get some strings and get all set up again. But I'll tell you what, it was more rough on, I think, just your mind space, to know that there were people 10 feet away just rummaging through your stuff and
just don't give a shit.
Yeah, it was weird. I had a hard time though. Even the rest of we went back to my dad's house and got new bows and got all hooked up with the people there at Rocky Mountain Sports and Cody. They took care of us amazingly. But when we got back up into the mountains, I couldn't sleep. I'll tell you what, I woke up you'd hear a stick break, and normally in your mind, you're like, oh, it's a deer. You could hear little things. And up there the whole time, I wasn't ever thinking, oh, it's a bear like you did in Montana. But then you pull your pistol out in the middle of the night for what might have just been an acorn falling, because all of a sudden I'm like, they're back. People are robbing us again. was a big
Well,
mind game.
it's you feel violated, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you come in and you can't trust your surroundings. Like you said, you grew up there going with your dad, super familiar surroundings, and then all of a sudden that's changed. So, did they break windows, or were
No,
the vehicles just left on?
what they did was they popped. I I think personally because they didn't break any windows, and I know that he locked the car because he set the car alarm off trying to do it before he went to bed, and they popped that back window open on the Jeep, and I think it's because you could wiggle that thing enough to pop the back open. But I mean, they had pulled everything out of that Jeep, and it blew my mind that I was 15 feet away, and these people just. I mean, you got to think everyone up in those mountains has a gun on them,
Yeah, yeah,
and they
take some
didn't care.
balls.
Yeah, if it would have been rough.
Yeah,
And the thing that I was most bummed about was, well, our bows was tough because I mean that's a 18 and now it's a 19 preference point tag. So we only had limited days up there anyways, and now I'm not going to draw that tag again in my life. Are you kidding me?
yeah.
It sucked to lose a third of the time that we had hunting to having to go into town to get new bows. But I have
Well,
this.
and the thing that these, if it was anti-hunters, or I don't know, maybe it's like the Blair Witch Project or some shit like that, where you've got some crazies out there. But yeah, you go into a camp and start like stealing shit. Like, yeah, you're asking for it, especially up there with hunters. 'Cause like you said, like pretty much everybody up there has got a gun on them, and to go into camp, they I feel bad for whoever tries that at my camp because I just don't sleep. Like I do not sleep at all when we're up there. So it's like I end up going out, we hike in, and then I sleep during the day while I'm waiting for, the evening stuff to start. But at night, for whatever reason, like it doesn't matter the setup, if I'm in a tent, if I'm on a cot, if I'm in a trailer, like I just, for whatever, it's miserable because it's like day 4 and I'm like, I would love to sleep again, at night. But yeah, so that you never found anything on them. So they did get away with gear. They cut your strings.
Yep, and I mean, there's only one road in, but it like I said, it's 35 miles, and it's a rough dirt road. But I think we followed the tracks for a while, and I literally think they just flew down the mountain because by the time we got all our stuff, I mean, we didn't want to just leave everything we had there because then you don't know if someone else is coming back if you leave all your shit to chase after them.
Yeah, if they left somebody behind.
Yeah, so we loaded up all our stuff into the Jeep and took off. And by the time you got all the way down there to where you had cell phone service, we called the sheriff, and he's like, "Well, did you guys get a plate?" And you say some smart remark because there's no way. And it was kind of like the end of it. They're like, that's probably what it was. We get a lot of people up here slashing tires and spray painting on people's cars, and they're anti-hunters." And I'm like, man, the one thing I was mad about though was I know it seems stupid, but I've had this leather belt since I was 16 years old. And I'm like, so it dawned on me like the next day that was gone. And I was telling my buddy Brad as we were driving back up there, I'm like, look, if we stop and we talk to people, you see anybody with my belt, just know that we're putting hands down. Like there's someone's life's about to change if we see someone wearing this belt. And we actually got all the way back up there, and I found my belt laying in this field. And it made it okay for me. Like there's one thing, like a sentimental thing I've had my whole life. Like it's been on every elk hunt. I've
Yeah.
used to carry bulls' heads out. Like I was like that belt means something. But I remember I was texting with my fiance afterwards, and she's like, "I'm so thankful that you found your belt and you didn't find it on someone because I think I was more worried about you catching some sort of felony charge if you did." And I just thought, like,
Having to get bailed out of jail.
yeah, it would have been rough, but we made the best of it. We got back up there. We didn't get a bull for Brad, but we did have a good hunt, and I spent the rest of the time not sleeping at night, and we made the best of it. I made an amazing friend up there at Paint Rock Outfitters. There's a guy named Joe that we met, and who actually runs the lodge up there in the Bighorns, and just turned out to be one of the nicest guys of all time. And the last night we were there, he like let us stay at the lodge and cook dinner, and just, sometimes you go through some shit, but then it turns out you meet some really cool people on the other side of it. And
there's some shitty people in the world, and then there's some good people that just like give you hope for humanity.
Yep.
And that. So, well, that's cool. And what was the name of his lodge?
It's up at Paint Rock. He has Paint Rock Outfitting, and it's a Paint Rock Lodge, and it's right there at, I want to say it's Medicine Creek.
Okay. Right.
And it was just a good experience. It turned out to be good. Although I spent the rest of my time looking for that lady in the white dress, to be honest with you. I had a different hunt in mind.
Do you think she had something to do with those guys?
I do. I feel like she
was doing some spotting.
Yeah. And just the feeling that you got when we saw her walking, like both me and Brad were both, there was just something so off about it.
Unsettling.
Yeah. We should have known better, and just, if I could go back in time, I'd have been sitting there in the dark waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost makes you like, you hear something like that. It's like, okay, I'm going to take my trail cams up and just set them around camp. So if somebody does try something, there's like some type of evidence. I doubt they'd be stupid enough to drive right up to where you can get a license plate. But, if they are anti-hunters, I mean, I don't get why somebody who's anti-hunting, it's like the more you do stuff like that and you try and you like damage property, you steal property, like you just give hunters like that much more resolve against you.
Oh my God. Yeah. I went from, I'm shooting a trophy bull. This is a once in, 20-year tag, to if I see a calf, I'm going to skin it in camp.
Yeah. Well,
it definitely changed everything. But like I said, we rolled into Rocky Mountain Sports there in Cody, and it's funny because Brad's bow was just destroyed from them cutting the cables too, and my RX-7 just needed new strings. So I told Brad, I'm like, hey, I know you don't want to. The only left-handed bow that they had in there was a RX-9, but it was left-handed, and I was like, I know you don't want to spend that much money, but if you buy my bow, then it's like it cuts the price of the RX-9 in half. So then I'll buy the RX-9, and we both get new bows, and so it worked out. He got
so you did get the new RX-9.
Yeah, it was totally justified to me at that point in time, though, and I got it for half off because my buddy bought mine. Yeah.
I mean, it's good that you can see like the silver lining in it, but still that it's not cool, man. I don't understand why these guys. It's like the guy, like I see like these protesters that are like, no more petroleum, and they're going in and ruining art that's like hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
Or like gluing themselves to it. And I'm like what do you think this is going to accomplish?
Yeah. It's so sad. Like watching that, scroll through Instagram, and it's just like the most depressing things, watching how people are acting. It's terrible.
Yeah. So Scott, tell me, what is your favorite animal to hunt? Shifting gears.
By far, it's elk.
Elk.
Yeah, I mean that bull up on the wall behind me. That's the first bull I ever killed when I was younger. I have him tattooed on my arm. Like it's kind of just, it's my favorite thing. Hearing them bugle, just getting in there during archery season, during the rut is so good.
So how old were you when you shot that thing?
I think I was 21.
Okay.
Long story, but my dad is I didn't talk to my dad for 10 years until I found out at the age of 21 I was having a son. And it turns out my dad and I are just identical. And that was a bull that I killed with him the first year that I went elk hunting with him. And and I've never looked back. It's been every year, every state that I can apply for. That's all I want to do. And I owe the world to that guy.
That's awesome. So you guys go out hunting quite a bit then?
Yeah. I mean, he's getting older and he's slowing down a bit. Now he's turning into like the world's best camp chef. You know, he'll pick you up in the side by side with a bottle of Fireball and have dinner ready at camp. But I'll tell you what, I've learned so much from him elk hunting, and it's funny because I was telling Brad as we're driving down to go meet my dad, and I'm like, he's intense about hunting, but I'll tell you what, he'll spot an animal 5 minutes before I will. He'll stop and see a track that you don't even see, and then we got in the side by side with my dad and we're driving, and he stops all quick and he's like, "Wait, we got to get out and look at this." And we stop, and I'm like, "Here it goes. I told you." And we stop, and there's like a wet spot in the dirt road. He's like, "Something pissed right here." And I was like, "Could have been a hunter for all I know, Dad. Like, what is that?" And you know, he's just so on with being out there. He's been out there for, I think, 30 years almost, and that's all he cares about and all he wants to do. And just learning from him has been absolutely priceless to my hunting. It's made me successful in
That's awesome.
ways that I probably shouldn't have been without him.
That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, as somebody who didn't grow up hunting, I mean, I started when I was 41 hunting and still trying to figure it out. It is interesting. Like the more time you spend out there, the more kind of like in tune you get with your surroundings and what to look for. I mean, I look back and I'm going like, I wonder how many opportunities I missed before because of like not being aware of like what was going on around me. Whereas now it's like when I'm hunting to the spot that I'm going to, when I'm there, I got my head on a swivel. Like you kind of learn to look for different, keys or hints that you're in the right area, or, elk sign, I guess, if you will, aside from the obvious bugling. But so tell me something, since you were talking about your dad, like what's been like the greatest thing that you've learned from him that's helped you become a better hunter for people that are new, that maybe are going like, how do I get the job done?
I would say it's he's taught me to slow down. I think just being young and excited to be out there, especially now being like stuck in Florida all the time, he's taught me to just slow down. Like that man reads tracks and he's so sure about it. And I'm like, I don't even know which way that track is facing, and he'll be like, "Oh, look, it was probably eating this rose hip right here. It turned a little bit. And then, so we should probably follow this trail." And I'm like, it's something I would have walked over that and been like, "Oh, that's a 3-day-old track. It doesn't really matter." You kind of just think more, "Oh, if this track isn't fresh, what does it really matter?" And my dad just sits there and reads tracks and walks slow and hears stuff and uses glass more than he uses his legs. And I don't think you can really go wrong with that. I think there's a part where you got to get off the trail, the common path where everyone's driving by on their side by sides. So maybe for the first mile, I'll walk a little faster, but then I try to hear him and slow way down and listen and glass a lot more, because he's definitely stopped me in my tracks, but with a little and point. Yeah. And like, "Oh shit, I didn't even see that. Like it was right there the whole time." And other times I would have blown it out without him.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. So Scott, tell me a little bit about that first bull. Tell me the story. I want to hear
it. That bull was in Wyoming. It was with my dad and his friend and his friend's son, who's my age. And I remember I have some really cool pictures of it. Actually, we lost him for like 2 hours. We had to go around this canyon to get to where I shot him. It was with a rifle. And my dad's friend had shot a bull too in the same herd that we pushed out of this canyon up onto the other side. I remember it probably sounding like, some Wild West movie. I think I shot at that bull 4 times before I hit it. I was so excited. And my dad's friend's bull ended up getting drug off by grizzlies by the time we got there. Wow. And the grizzlies coming out of Yellowstone are just thick. even at my dad's house. I mean, he lives up the North Fork right outside of Cody, and he's got them on his back porch a couple times in the last year. And that was my first experience with grizzlies. We got over there, and I'm like, "Where's that other bull?" And they're like, "The bears got it." And I was like, "Oh shit, really? Like that's a thing?"
Yeah.
And this bull was, I mean, he's a 6x6. He's not the biggest bull in the world, but he definitely means the most to me. That hunt with my dad, just being like the first real hunt that we got to do together. I don't know.
A
I've
lot of good
definitely killed
memories.
a lot bigger bulls. There's one on my safe in the bedroom that's monumental compared to this thing, but it probably means the most to me out of all of them.
Yeah, I think taking like your first big game animal, like it doesn't matter like what the size of it is. It's just like being out there, putting in the work, learning how to get it done. Like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be like a wreck once I finally like down like my first animal, because it's, I mean, you do like that's the other thing. Back to these people that are like anti-hunting, even like they think that we're out there like hunting out of hate, and it's like it's out of love and appreciation for the animal. And the work that you have to put in to be able to get the job done, like that's no joke. I mean, especially archery hunting, which is like the only thing that I'm doing right now. Like you beat yourself up like on the regular, like it is a grind. And I know it's like everyone who talks about like the anti-hunters and that, like, oh, you're killing the animals, and it's like beating a dead horse, but it's like they either get eaten by another animal like a grizzly bear like you just talked about, and the grizzlies typically aren't taking the big bulls, they're taking the little calves,
Yep.
stuff that they can catch, I mean, or they're starving to death or they're freezing to death. A well placed shot um, is actually like a pretty humane way to take these animals, at least in my opinion. And I know a lot of people agree with that, but to go out there and just like ruin somebody's trip, like you said, like it's like once in a lifetime, hunt for you, for someone to go in and ruin that, I think that's, very short sighted on their part at a minimum.
I think so too. And just the feeling of like, since I've been home, I've taken sausage, jerky. I've made so much jerky, but steaks, everything to my work, my neighbors. Like I love the feeling of sharing it. It's so fun to bring that and be like, here, try this. This is, you asked me about my trip. Like I'll bring you some meat tomorrow and you could try it. Like I think there's so much more honor in that than there is going and just buying a steak.
Yeah.
Like giving that meat to somebody feels better than any part of the hunt to me. I mean, especially with like you said, I mean, during that 3.5 weeks we were there, I think I had it marked on my Instagram like a week ago, I think, but it was like 156 miles or something we hiked. And I mean, it was rough. I'm a type 1 diabetic. And I'll tell you what, my buddy Brad saved my ass out there a couple times. Like everybody else is packing, all their stuff, and half my pack's candy, just trying to make sure that when my blood sugar drops, I have something to get it back. And to get back to that, people breaking into our car, they took everything. And I remember being like, you guys don't even know the medical supplies that you steal and break. Like that's literally my lifeline out here. And you're doing it for, if it was anti-hunters, I don't, if it could have been tweakers for all I know, but whoever it was, it's like you're robbing someone 35 miles from a paved road, 100 miles from town, and stealing everything, and like medicine, everything. Like it's
I,
crazy to me that humanity is that low.
yeah.
That's just a thing that people are doing to each other.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's a crazy world we're living in right now for sure, man. Hey, Scott, have you done any like predator hunting, like with your dad, like bears or anything out there?
Yeah, I've hunted a couple black bears with my dad. Um, Amazing time. I haven't ever shot one. Both times I've been with him, he shot one. I think because I always bring my bow and he brings a rifle, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're not going to get that close," and I'm like, "Well, let's just try." And then
So do you guys do spot and stalk then when you're bear hunting?
yeah,
So you're
You
not
bet.
just going out there, giving them something to come in
No,
and eat on.
no, I've never hunted them over bait. Although I wouldn't be against it if I could get to Canada and go shoot one up there. I would definitely be interested in doing it. But he's all about spot and stalk, and that's kind of my favorite way to hunt. I do a lot with him of that, and at least in Florida, I'm doing some coyote hunting, but a lot of pig hunting with my bow. That's a fun thing to hunt. Like hunting
Another
pigs,
invasive species.
yeah, and they're fun. Like there's something fun about hunting pigs. Like just big boars in the thick grass of Florida. They have they call it small game season, where the
Uh-huh.
only thing you can hunt with is a shotgun. And to go walk through like 6 foot tall guinea grass with a shotgun is a lot of fun.
I've never heard of that. That would be a blast to get out there and do that. I know I'm planning. I'm going to go do a black bear hunt next fall up in North Carolina. Um, Going up with uh, Nathan Cox, who's a game warden up there, and I had him on the podcast. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. Figure if you're going someplace you're unfamiliar with, your best bet is to go with somebody who's a game warden. He'll definitely be able to keep your butt out of trouble. But
If they're cool. If they're cool.
well, yeah. I mean, I guess if you're going with him, it's got to be pretty cool. He's a cool dude. I think most game wardens are pretty chill. Like if you get to know him, I know there's some guys that have had bad experiences, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I've just been lucky. I haven't done anything stupid enough to really get me in any type of trouble right now. But Nathan's a good dude. He's a good dude. I'm excited to get up there and do that hunt next year. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
I bet that'll be a great hunt.
So, have you got anything else coming up? You're going to be hunting this year?
I'm going to go to Texas here. My daughter's birthday. She doesn't know this yet, but my daughter's birthday is in 10 days. And she's turning 12. And I asked her what she wanted for her birthday. And she said to shoot a deer. And I was like, dang, I don't know that you'll ever say that again. So I should definitely take you up on it. So I'm going to take her, one of my really good friends and kind of a mentor through anesthesia school was, he owns a ranch out there called the 406 Ranch, just outside of San Antonio. And I'm going to take her to go shoot a deer, a management buck. He's got a buck
Whitetail?
whitetail.
Right
He's got
on.
a buck that I've been watching for the last probably year on game cams from him. It's got to be pushing 200 inches. And I call it the handlebar buck that I just want him. I don't really know why. It's his ranch it's high fenced on 3 sides, so it's not guaranteed that this buck will still be there. But he's been on the ranch for the last year and a half at least, and it's got to be the most impressive buck I've seen in a while. So I thought about letting my daughter shoot that one, and then I was like, if she shoots a 200-inch whitetail for her first animal ever, she's going to be ruined for hunting.
Yeah.
You're never gonna have any excitement again. So.
Either that or you'll have her hooked.
Yeah, I guess it is a gamble.
Well, that'll be fun.
Try to get in on that. My dad's got a elk tag that he hunted, like I would say 2 weeks ago. He was hunting and didn't get on one outside of Casper, a rifle elk tag that he gets a couple more days in December, like December 10 days or something. So I'll probably go out there for that. I'd like to. I don't know. You never know how many more hunts somebody has. So anytime I can get into the woods with my dad, I'd take care of that.
Yeah. At some point, the body just kind of stops being able to do all the hard type of hunting. So that'll be good for you guys to get out there and spend some time together, and that's fun. You get to take your daughter down to Texas and do a little hunting. Has she been hunting before with you?
Yeah, I take my kids, all three of them. I mean, anytime I can into the woods here, even if it's with a shotgun for pigs.
Yeah.
I think I took my son out. He's 16 now, but he was probably, I don't know, 6 the first time I took him hunting, and I had him on my shoulders, and I knew where there were a bunch of pigs, and I heard then someone else started shooting on the other side, and I picked him up and I put him on my shoulders, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to start shooting in a minute because I know those pigs are going to come towards us. And I think I shot 5 pigs with a 12 gauge with him on my shoulders as they were just running down this dirt road right at us. And you couldn't have asked for a better pig hunting experience for him.
That's super cool.
But they all want to go elk hunting. I just feel like they're not quite there yet as far as I don't really elk hunt from the truck. And it's a rough trip. I mean, so I think that'll wait. I'd like to go out to Hawaii. I have a lot of friends and family out in Hawaii, probably in February. And I don't know if you've been out there to hunt, but there's great access deer hunting, like no bag limits, no anything. They're just such a nuisance animal on some of the islands. But the pig hunting on the Big Island where I grew up, most of my young adulthood is unreal. And actually where I got into bow hunting with, I have a great friend out there, Mario, who hunts them with just dogs and a roping rope and a knife. And if you ever wanted to have some fun, going out there and hunting pigs like that it's fun.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah,
but if you ever want to come to Florida and do a shotgun only season here with me, I'd be down to put you on some pigs for sure.
Yeah, man, I'm down. When is that season?
I think it opens November 15th through like the middle of January.
And it's just over the counter tag.
Yeah, over the counter. All you need is a license. And even the neat thing about Florida is like, if it's your first time hunting here, you don't even have to have your hunter safety or a hunting license. It's like some, introduction to hunting. You go with somebody that has one and go shoot some pigs.
Right on. Yeah, man. We'll have to talk more about that for sure. Yeah. I think that'd be a blast. Plus, it's always fun to get to a little bit warmer place when, I'm in Utah. So yeah, the cold is starting to set in here a little bit.
I'm so jealous.
I do enjoy it. I mean, the change in season, super nice, but yeah, once the snow starts hitting and it gets cold, like you really quickly start getting ready for spring and summer to come. But Scott, hey, as we wrap up here, like any last little bit of advice you'd give to anybody that just is out there hunting that, will make it fun for them?
I would say more often than not, the times I've gotten, besides this year, this last hunting season was just a total fluke shooting that bull on the first day. I think it's like that one more ridge thing. Like if you just go one more ridge when you're ready to stop, so many times that's put me on something that I wouldn't have gotten. And a lot of times it's gotten me a long walk back in the dark, but I think it's just all about going a little bit deeper. Go a little bit deeper than everybody else, go a little bit harder than everybody else, and you're going to find them. I mean, especially elk. People push them and they go, 4 ridges over and stop. And there's a lot of people that aren't willing to walk 4 or 3 ridges over and not go that 4th. You just got to keep going. And I think that's what's paid off the most for me over the years is just putting the boots on the ground.
Excellent advice. Scott, if somebody wants to follow you on social, how can they find you?
I think my Instagram is just my name, Scott Dunton. On Instagram, it's pretty much the only thing that I use.
Okay.
A lot of anesthesia photos and stuff, but if it's not anesthesia, it's hunting. And right now it's probably a lot of iguana posts.
There you go. Well, we'll put a link in the show notes for people to follow you. Scott, man, it's been great to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. Really, really enjoy your time. Appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks, man.
For sure. Ryan and I had a great time with you as well. And I'm always watching the podcast. So keep it up and I'll look forward to hearing it, checking out, see how you do on your bear hunt.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'll let you know. I'll send you some pics once we get that done. But anyway, hey guys, thanks for listening to another episode of the Hunt Stealth Podcast. We are the fastest growing hunting podcast in the nation. Stay safe and God bless.